He walked into the laundry room with a machete and left behind a scene so horrifying. First responders couldn't speak. In front of a wife and child, a man was beheaded, and now the killer's past is unraveling across multiple states. This is the story behind the blood-soaked arrest of Giordani Cobos Martinez. It began like any ordinary morning at the downtown Suites Motel in Dallas. Keys clinking at the front desk, laundry carts rattling down quiet hallways, families still sipping coffee in their rooms. But by 9:30 a.m., sirens had drowned out the stillness, and first responders were sprinting toward a crime scene that would haunt even veteran officers. A 911 call shattered the routine. A man with a machete was seen hacking at another man's neck in the motel's laundry room. Eyewitnesses said it wasn't just a stabbing, it was a beheading. One motel resident, too shaken to show his face, told authorities he saw the suspect calmly sever the victim's head as the man's wife and child screamed in disbelief. When officers arrived, the suspect had fled, but not far. Minutes later, a man in a blood-soaked shirt was apprehended a few blocks away. He was identified as 37-year-old Giordani Cobos Martinez, a Cuban national with a long trail of priors stretching across California, Florida, and Houston. Police say the violence began over a broken washing machine and ended with unspeakable brutality. The victim, 50-year-old Chandra Nagamaya, had simply asked the suspect not to use a malfunctioning appliance. He died trying to keep order and paid for it with his life. The aftermath was a blur of screams, flashing lights, and horror-struck silence. Chandra Nagamaya's family stood frozen beside his mutilated body, his wife in shock, his young son clinging to her hand, both stained with trauma no child should ever carry. Witnesses described a scene ripped from a nightmare, a man wielding a machete in a rage, carving through flesh like he was possessed. According to police, the altercation began when Nagamaya used a translation app to politely inform Giordani Cobos Martinez that the washing machine was broken. Something about that interaction, investigators believe, flipped a switch in the suspect. Surveillance footage reportedly shows Martinez retrieving a blade from his room and returning with chilling intent. The scuffle turned into a massacre within seconds. Guests ran for cover. One motel tenant locked herself in her room and phoned police as Martinez stood over the body, hacking until the victim's head rolled free. What he did next stunned even the most hardened detectives. He carried the severed head to a nearby dumpster and dumped it like trash. Officers who later opened the bin recoiled in horror. What began as a maintenance dispute had morphed into one of the most grotesque killings Dallas has seen in recent years, and the motel, once a quiet haven for travelers, had become a crime scene soaked in blood and grief. As the police closed in on the suspect, a grim story began to unfold, one that spanned states and years. Giordani Cobos Martinez, now sitting in a Dallas County jail cell, is no stranger to law enforcement. At 37, the Cuban national had already been linked to crimes in California, Florida, and Houston, each incident echoing patterns of rage, instability, and flight. Law enforcement sources now confirm that Martinez had been on an ICE watch list, flagged for possible deportation due to prior offenses. But he slipped through the cracks again and again. His arrival at the downtown Suites Motel came just days before the murder. Yet he was already known among tenants as unpredictable, volatile, and constantly muttering to himself. His arrest after the crime was swift. Police found him walking just blocks away, his shirt soaked in blood, machete still in hand. No resistance, no remorse. During questioning, he allegedly gave conflicting statements, slipping between Spanish and English, at times rambling incoherently. Prosecutors wasted no time charging him with capital murder, and ICE placed an immediate hold. But for Chandra Nagamaya's family, that offers little comfort. The question burning across Dallas tonight is a haunting one. Why was a man with such a violent past allowed to roam free until he left a father butchered, a family destroyed, and a city reeling? The attack happened so suddenly, so brutally, that even seasoned first responders say they'll never forget the scene. Just before 9:30 a.m., 911 calls came pouring in from terrified residents at the downtown suites. One voice, trembling, barely audible. "He's cutting him. He's cutting his head off." What police found when they arrived was worse than imagined. Blood smeared across the laundry room walls, a body lifeless on the tile floor, and a trail leading to a nearby dumpster. That's where the victim's severed head was found, discarded like trash. Chandra Nagamaya's wife and young son had watched it all unfold, powerless to stop the horror. Witnesses say the suspect didn't run at first. He stood there, drenched in blood, breathing heavily, eyes vacant, as if possessed. Only then did he walk calmly out the door and vanish into the surrounding neighborhood. One witness said it was like watching a horror movie play out in real life, but this time, the monster wasn't fiction. Surveillance footage is now being reviewed frame by frame, and trauma counselors have been dispatched to assist motel residents, many of whom say they'll never sleep the same again. Dallas has seen violence before, but not like this. This wasn't a murder. It was a massacre in daylight. As the blood dried and sirens faded, Dallas was left haunted by a single horrific truth. Evil had walked among them, wielding a blade, and no one had seen it coming. Giordani Cobos Martinez, the man now charged with capital murder, sits behind bars in Dallas County Jail, his ICE hold ensuring he won't be leaving anytime soon. But justice is only beginning. Authorities are now digging into his past, linking him to unsolved crimes in California, Florida, and Houston. Prosecutors are preparing for one of the most high-profile trials Dallas has seen in years. The community, still shaken, is demanding answers. How did this man, with such a violent background, end up living freely in a family motel? Was it immigration loopholes, bureaucratic failure, or simple human oversight? Meanwhile, Chandra Nagamaya's family is shattered. His wife, still in shock, has not spoken publicly. His son hasn't returned to school. A GoFundMe for the funeral has raised thousands, but no amount of money can erase the memory of what they saw. The motel has shut down the laundry room indefinitely, a silent memorial to the man who kept it clean. And in the streets of Dallas, fear lingers like a stain. This wasn't random. It was personal. It was monstrous. And it demands justice.